Dexter, thank you for joining us this evening. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Dexter Loeble. I'm the managing director for All Covered. We're a division of Konica Minolta, and we provide IT services to a couple hundred clients here in the greater New York City area. And thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. My name is Eric Beckman of Beckman Technology Projects here in New York, and one of the founding members of the BTGNY meetup. With that out of the way, let's get started.
Sure.
Now, Dexter, what are the most important decisions that you make as a leader of your organization?
So, I feel like the most important decisions that I make as a leader of my organization are regarding people. People are the cornerstone of the business that we provide. We're a services organization. We provide technology, but the deployment of that, the customer service every day, and any decision we make about hiring, promoting, how we invest in engineering readiness, I think those are the most important decisions that we make.
And given your current role, how important is it that you work with the functional leaders within your organization aside from yourself?
Sure. So we have core values at Konica Minolta and All Covered, and one of those core values is to be inclusive and collaborative. And in our industry, we have many different technologies we have to support. We work in many different verticals. So as such, there are functional leaders and practice directors that work at a national level, and then we deploy and support our clients on a local level. And we have to be inclusive and collaborative as a team. And working with them, that allows us to make better strategic decisions. We can feel what's happening out in the field and provide that information to our national leaders in order to better prepare our organization for the way we handle our clients every day. In addition to that, I feel like active participation is important. So working as a functional leader, here in this market, we support a lot of legal clients, and one of those things that we need to do is every day make sure that we're actively participating in the advancement of the services we offer.
How would you define that, the active participation?
I think it's very easy to read a standard or a best practice and say this is how we're going to do it. But technology changes and shifts, and so if you have to pivot at any given time, I think it's important to communicate how those best practices might need to be redeployed. Maybe we need to enhance them, and I think it's very easy to sit back and follow guidelines that are documented. But at the same time, if you actively participate in the development of those best practices, then that's how your organization grows and becomes better.
Now, All Covered participates in the growth of its clients and kind of works toward streamlining and helping their clients grow. Mm-hmm. And even with all the years that you've spent in the industry, why do you feel that IT, instead of stimulating growth, is often looked upon as a cost center rather than a revenue stream or a revenue driver?
Yeah. Well, there's two different spaces that we work in. We work in enterprise, so your Fortune 500 clients, and then we work in the SMB market. I think in the enterprise level, IT is seen as kind of a capital or durable good. It's an investment that you make in the organization that's going to help drive revenue or improve shareholder value. I mean, that happens because you deploy technology like a better CRM or some sort of marketing play or system that's going to help you reach your clients quicker, get a better pull through, or it's just you have technology that improves the systems you have to manufacture your goods. So technology, I think at the enterprise level, is very easily defined as it's bringing value. The SMB side, what I find interesting is that small businesses, medium-sized businesses, they weren't anticipating the types of expenses that IT brings to the table. 25, 30 years ago, who would have thought that my telecommunications expense and my infrastructure expense, and I've got this new hosted solution that I need to bring on board, that these things would have been there. A Rolodex, and now I've got a Salesforce account that I have to pay for. I've got 100 employees, it's $100 a head. That's not an expense that maybe the founders of an organization or the generation before had really thought about. So you're fighting that as an obstacle constantly, trying to show how that's going to bring value. So what we do is really have to look at helping our clients look at the next 3, 5, 10 years and what their expenses are going to be, and how technology is going to help improve that. Plus, there's other things that you have to help clients understand, and that's that there's certain requirements that have to be met when it comes to security. Maybe they don't have a cybersecurity committee in their organization, and that's something they need to invest in, or maybe they need to enhance their firewall or physical security, and that's something that they have to do now because they're regulated. It's our job as IT consultants to help them understand that.
How do you personally position that when interacting with a potential or prospective client?
I was with a customer today that is moving their office. They've got 50 users, and in that process of moving, they're saying, well, maybe I should move to the cloud so that I don't have to physically re-rack my host in another building. I don't have to worry about a server closet. And we've been working with them over the past year on their technology business plan, preparing them for this so that the transition is not as it's not as unexpected.
Mm-hmm. As Allcover provides IT services that require information storage and management in the cloud, two questions kind of come to mind for me. The first being, like, what is your process? Like, how do you regulate? How do you facilitate a migration of a client to the cloud? What is usually some of the things that you look for as an opportunity or an opportune system or process to move into the cloud?
So cloud migration really is, for a mid-sized business, is a big culture change. There are different ways to approach it, and clients are often confused by all the different choices. So we have a very thorough discovery process that we begin with. And a lot of times we start with application. And we say, at the application layer, what do you have to have, and what are you going to be using in the next few years? How is it going to transition? Are you currently on a good CRM that you like? Is your document management system intact? Is your line of business system? Are they moving to a SaaS solution? So we evaluate the applications they use. And by doing that, that could give us a better understanding of what type of server infrastructure they might need in the back end. Maybe they're going to move from a local desktop, or they're going to move to a session now instead, like a Citrix or a remote desktop, or a VDI. So we begin with discovery so that we can fully understand what they're doing today and what they need to do in the future. We don't want to make a decision to move somebody to the cloud by just snapping our fingers and saying we're going to upload everything to this environment, and you'll just log on tomorrow and everything will be great. There's a lot of planning and discovery that goes into it. So that's where we begin, and that's where we invest most of our time. Then once you've done that, then you can write good requirements, and you can do good technical planning. And that technical planning is important. You've got maybe a 1 to a 2 week period of time where you're really starting to understand how it's all going to come together, review it with the client. You got to deal with the cutover and the training. So that planning piece of it, I think, is even it is kind of parallel to the level of importance that discovery is. Execution seems to be pretty easy. You just basically work your plan and pivot when you run into obstacles, which you always do, and make sure that you recover quickly, and then you do testing and then close it out and cut over. So the lessons that I think we've learned over the years have been that discovery and planning process is really critical, and making sure that you understand your client's environment to the degree that you can make a solid recommendation.
Now, of course, an integral part of moving any system or process to the cloud is moving it off-site. Do you find that customers are reluctant or hesitant about giving up control of the physical box that their systems are running on? And if so, how do you alleviate those fears?
Sure. I mean, control is a big component of what clients go through, that culture change.
If they're managing their environment today. So, for example, if a client is going to move from a physical environment today where they've got access to the console that their VMs are hosted on, when you move to kind of an infrastructure as a service platform, you're no longer going to have that level of access. So, if that's really important, then you have to advise the customer they might move to a private cloud solution where they have that level of access. So, there's different decisions that need to be made. Maybe it's just a colo, So that first discussion you have about control over your environment is something you have to be in the discovery phase, and you say, here's your options. If you need that level of control, then maybe colo or private cloud would be the best for you. It's very similar to moving to a hosted exchange environment. You immediately lose a lot of the elements that you're accustomed to having if you have an on-premise exchange solution.
Cloud services are a very, hot item nowadays, but what about down the road? I mean, what do you see like on the 3 to 5 year horizon in the IT sector?
Well, I think the future is definitely a desktop as a service. The infrastructure piece of it has become pretty easy to manage for the mid-sized market. Enterprise is already doing that. A lot of VDI is currently being deployed and in use in a lot of the enterprise level accounts. But I think for the mid-sized clients, some sort of desktop as a service is going to be critical. Mobility is also still a big part of what we talk about every day. What I find interesting is that companies now require employees to bring their own device, which is different than in the past. They would say, you can bring your own device. It's optional. We prefer that we'd issue you this laptop, but now companies are just expecting that you come to the table with your own tablet, your own mobile device, and they don't. And because of that, they have to become better prepared. So I think that discussion about BYOD is really kind of shifted to this is something we have to do, and we have to have the right usage policies in place and manage through it. So mobility management is critical.
How do you feel All Covered fits into that paradigm?
Yeah, we have a very strong mobility management solution. So we can manage everything from a tablet to a mobile device through monitoring and deployment. I think being able to have the right infrastructure is critical, and we offer a very flexible model. So we deal with that every day. Customers, you get hybrid mixed environments is kind of the most common thing. You got a Mac, you got a PC, you've got my tablet, and some people compute every day with 4 or 5 different devices. So you have to pivot every day.
Do you have any particular preference in device?
Well, I use 4 different devices.
Yeah.
So I have a laptop at home, a laptop at my desk. I carry around a pretty nice Ultrabook, and then I have my mobile device that I carry around with me. And because we operate in kind of everything we have is hosted, I don't have to be tethered to a desktop or one particular device. I just close one and open the other. It's seamless, and I think that's the most convenient part. Is if I want to take a lightweight device with me to see a client, I do it, and if I don't have to drag the old brick, from my desk.
And you can design and implement solutions like that for your clients as well.
Absolutely. I mean, every day we do that. You've got to find a way to access your email, access your systems, access your files, and kind of having this hybrid model is the most common way I see people doing it today.
Do you ever run into any friction or difficulty when trying to facilitate a cloud adoption with the more MRC model rather than a sunk upfront cost?
Well, there's always going to be an initial investment that's required in moving into the cloud. I mean, unless you were to fund it through the monthly cost over some sort of agreement, right? There's always going to be an upfront cost. You've got the migration and that initial investment, but and when you do it head-to-head, the way I look at it, we were doing a comparison with a client this week. Cloud versus on-premise in the short term is pretty equal on the cost for upfront. The services, obviously, the hardware's not, but once you reach that second upgrade, that's where you see kind of a break even. And then, of course, we're all expecting in 5 to 7 years for cloud adoption to be at a rate where people are just going to do it regardless.
Do you have any particular approach? Does All Covered have any particular approach when doing like a cost analysis for, I don't want you to give up the secret sauce, so to speak, but when balancing or when weighing these things out for your prospective clients, is there particular technique you employ, or?
Yeah, so whenever we do a cloud comparison, when someone's making a decision on their next system upgrade, you know, they're at a point where they're moving, or you know, they have end-of-life hardware, and it's time, right? We most commonly have clients provide us with kind of a plan for the next 3 to 5 years, where they think they're going to go. What's your growth rate going to look like from an end user standpoint? And you know, what kind of systems you're going to be adopting, what initiatives you have in place, so we get that kind of level set. And then our solutions architects, they evaluate both a cloud solution and a on-premise solution. And then we take those two things and we show them what it's going to be over the next 3, 5, 6 years, including their initial investment. Very upfront with all the components that are required. And we have a discussion about what they feel is in the best interest of their business. I don't think that the decision to move to the cloud should be financial. I think the decision to move to the cloud should be about security, continuity, efficiency. Those are the things that, you know, clients should be thinking about. If they're moving to the cloud to save money, you know, it's probably because their environment's pretty simplistic, and it just makes sense for them to use some sort of SaaS solution.
Gotcha. Now, tell me a little bit more about that as far as business continuity, both the obvious and any, you know, potential, you know, hidden value that might exist in a cloud solution as far as business continuity and disaster recovery is concerned.
Yeah. So, I mean, business continuity to me is broader than just your system. So you've got, you know, we offer business continuity planning services where we take a look holistically at, you know, what is it going to cost your business to be down? What are your recovery time and recovery point objectives? You know, not only from a system standpoint, from just access to your building. You know, if there was a power outage here in New York City that, you know, prevented your firm from being present for 2 days, how would you respond to that? If you couldn't trade, how would you respond to that if you didn't have access to these systems? So we look at business continuity from a more of a holistic standpoint. From if I'm going to have just a pure data center model where my data center is in Virginia and we have another data center that's in Arizona, and you know, they have a fiber optic link between the two, and you know, our basic business model is you compute through our first data center, and then if there's a catastrophic failure, then you're going to be spun up in the second data center. And it's a very simple model. The process to do that, you know, all depends on exactly what their recovery point of view and time objectives are. If they need to be spun up sooner, then you know, we're going to add business continuity to their cloud solution. If they have the ability to wait a day or 2 hours, then we're going to schedule things differently. So it all, you know, it comes down to planning. You know, it's how many snapshots you're going to take, how frequently how long are you going to retain those, and where do you want to spin up your services. So I think from that standpoint, business continuity is all about a holistic approach to what type of impact is an outage going to have, versus just a simple latent event where we have latency in our network for a couple hours, or you know, there's just a slight interruption, you know, which we deal with differently.
Gotcha. Well, finally, I guess I'd ask you, back to All Covered as a firm, what do you think are the most, say, the top 3 important business initiatives that you'll be looking at over the next 3 to 5 years internally?
Yeah. So we're a services organization, so customer service is paramount to what we do. And I think that the decisions we've made to acquire new companies that bring us different offerings to our clients is important. So you know, we have made some acquisitions that improve our offering, improving our ITSM system so that we can provide better business intelligence to our customers. It's our ticketing system and how we report and communicate back to clients about you know, the events that occur. It allows us to be more responsive. You know, critical to everything we do is uptime, and our ability to respond quickly look at a screen and see exactly what is going on in the environment, have that single pane of glass approach is very important to what we do as a service provider. So we've been investing in developing an improved ITSM service management console that allows us to do so. So that's one. The other is engineering readiness. So we have to make sure that our field engineers and remote support engineers are prepared to handle our clients' needs. So that has a lot to do with training and development, identifying the new technologies they need to master, making sure that we're moving them through that career path. So we invest in our employees by providing training and development to them. We maintain a skills database that says, here's somebody who's really good at NetScaler, and this is how that you can reach this individual, or here's someone who can really handle VMware in this particular scenario. So that allows us to be able to say, all right, I can't answer this problem, but I can look at the skills database and find an engineer who's available right now who can help me. And that responsiveness is important. And then I think if you want three.
If you got them.
Cloud, developing and enhancing our data centers is a big part of what we need to be doing. We maintain a very sophisticated data center in both the West Coast and East Coast, and we have it's manned 24/7 in an environment that provides the highest level of security that our clients are looking for, but it's becoming scalable and making sure that we've made the investments there. It's clients are relying on the data centers to provide services at a certain SLA, and that requires us to make sure that we made the right investments. So I would say those are three areas that are critical.
Anything you'd like to add?
I think cloud adoption is probably the number one thing that we're focused on right now with our clients. It's a decision that people are going to have to make in the near future. I guess there's always the option to stay on-prem, but it's a decision that this generation is beginning to really evaluate. And so we spend a lot of our time trying to help our clients understand when they should make that decision and when they should make that investment. As hardware expires and software becomes end of life, every time that happens, you have a decision that you can make. Should I remain on-prem, or should I move to a hosted solution? And I think that's the most enjoyable part of the job, is doing that discovery every day, getting out there in front of clients and having those engaging discussions about cloud. And so I had 2 of them today. It was the best part of my day.
That's great.
Other than this.
Dexter, thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to take a couple of questions from the audience. Does anybody have a question for Dexter?
I can't speak to revenue at all. I can tell you that we have hundreds of clients in our cloud, in our 2 data centers, and some small and some large. We have hundreds of customers, and we're adopting every day. Our organization has done a very good job of managing the migration process through helping clients over a period of time slowly move into the cloud, either through a colo, to an infrastructure as a service solution or SaaS solution. So the most important part, I think, would be what is the adoption rate of our existing client base. Right. And our goal is to help clients determine system by system what they should move to the cloud. Full migration over sometimes is very painful or just difficult to time. So that's kind of our initiative, is to help our clients move components. Like, let's move backup to the cloud. Let's get you a DR solution in place. Let's move email into a hosted environment. It's never enough. I mean, you always discover something on the back end that you should have planned for better. Mm-hmm. I think it's easily 20% that goes into it. And that really encompasses the discovery. Discovery for our existing clients is complimentary. We don't charge our customers for discovery if they're an existing customer. If they're a new client, very often we'll do a flat fee technology business plan for them. that will allow us to come in and do that discovery. So the better discovery we do up front, usually it shortens the amount of planning we need to do. And also, if we've done something many times, like a basic migration to Exchange from on-prem to cloud, we know how to do that. So we have templates that we can follow. We just need to tweak them based off of what we know. I would say they turn it down as much as it's more of a timing thing. You ask about IT being it's seen as a cost. I also think it's making it a priority. We don't have to look at that today. We could look at that later.
Okay.
And I think that comes down to relationship management.
Okay.
And if you have a client, you got to have a very good relationship with them, so you're bringing value, and they're going to allow you the time to come in and do that type of a discovery work. We offer a fully scalable managed services program for our client. We call it All Covered Care. And so what we can do is we can provide them just remote monitoring. We can do patch management reboot type PM&R programs. We can provide on-site or off-site support. We do all of these scalable things because our clients, they don't fit a mold very often. Some clients have one IT person in-house and they just need to augment their IT staff. We have some clients that don't have anything to do with IT and they just want to come in and log in the morning. If they have a problem, to us, we're just desktop support. But on the back end, we're fully managing their environment. So in this market, we have hundreds of clients that we support, and I would say that a majority of them, well over 70%, are on a fully managed program. The deployment of a security program like something like firewall or remote access and those kinds of things, I mean, we do that ourselves. Our engineers are certified to to manage. We deploy a lot of Cisco firewalls and local security. Our partners for third-party assessments, like when we do penetration testing, or in the financial industry, we have a regulated group that our group that manages according to regulations down in Cherry Hill. They're internal, but we do third-party pen testing, and then we take the results, and then we do the remediation, and then they get a letter certifying that they've done the testing, and then they've taken the steps necessary. So if a company's asked for professional liability insurance request, or they're renewing it and they need to demonstrate that they've done X, Y, and Z, then we can do that. Another thing we do is with our financial services group, we'll actually manage their cybersecurity committee. So we'll actively participate on that, and then advise them on what they need to do, and then help them prepare their board presentations. So that's more of a vertical specific offering that we have in the financial services group. We have regulatory and compliance experts that work with local banks, credit unions, and brokers and dealers, and help them manage according to the regulations that FINRA, SEC, and that all have required them to work towards. So when we recommend that a customer not move to the cloud, a lot of it has to do with availability. If a client demands, let's say that they don't have good broadband access where they are, their circuits aren't going to really support the type of work that they're doing, we're not going to recommend that they move to the cloud. That's the one change that occurs is the latency, because you're working over the WAN, and if you have an issue with your connection, then it immediately becomes users get upset, and there's a customer service issue that we have to address. So if they don't have a good solid connection, that's not going to work. Another thing would be what's going to be traversing over the network. What are they doing? They're doing a lot of printing and scanning and data file transfers. Maybe it's not cost effective. And you have to look at it because you have to provide so much computing resources in the back end and the front end, and then increase their bandwidth to the point that it becomes an obstruction. So I have had the occasion to tell a customer that it's probably best for them not to put this system in the cloud, but email makes total sense. Let's move email to the cloud. Or this group of users could work in a Citrix session because all they're doing is, doing some data entry, and you're just passing keystrokes and screen refreshes over the connection.
Great. Dexter Loeble.